through brownest day and darkest night. I wish I may, I wish I might drink the darkest brew and palest ale. Inebriation never fail. What's with the brownest night? What are we, a dust storm?
Welcome to One Shot Presents. I'm Brick. You know what we do here. Anyway, for this week we have a 2 for Tuesday. That's right, 2 for Tuesday, with a side of special sauce. I didn't stutter. For our first book, we have Air by G.Willow Wilson and M.K. Perker. Now here's the thing. When you flip through this book, it's beautiful. M.K. Perker is one of the best artists I've seen in a long time. I mean, his lines are really cool. His art is really interesting. It's a beautiful book to flip through. But you don't always get a book just for the art. And the story, I had a tough time with. What G.Willow Wilson has done is grabbed a whole bunch of myths from around the world and tried to infuse them into one book, where the central character, Blythe, is running around trying to figure out this mystery. But there's too much going on, and I have a tough time following the plot line. Now, I know that Air is pretty popular. There's a lot of people that I've talked to that actually really like the book, and maybe I'm just missing the boat. Yeah, that happens. Volume 2 is about to come out, but I must admit, since Volume 1 didn't really engage me, I'm probably not getting Volume 2. But M.K. Perker's art, beautiful. So if you're into art and some weird fantasy storylines, you know, you should check it out. But out of 5, I'm going to have to give it a 3. We had the pleasure of meeting G.Willow Wilson and M.K. Perker, so check it out.
We're here with G.Willow Wilson, the creator of Air. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about the mythology behind Air.
Well, Air came about because I got interested in what's called perennialism, which is the idea that there are symbols and ideas that show up in every culture throughout time. And so a lot of the symbols and the mythology that I use in Air are things that show up in a lot of different cultures and a lot of different places. Obviously, the idea of the serpents and ladders and flight and all of this kind of stuff. So I pull a lot from Aztec mythology, but I also go into some Jungian stuff. So it's this great big global mishmash of things from all over the world that have caught my interest at one point or another.
Right on. So people can pick it up at their comic book store, obviously, but where else do you have a website?
Yeah, I've got a website, www.gwillowwilson.com. I also blog with Jason Aaron and a lot of other Vertigo creators at standardattrition.com, so you can find me in either place.
Okay, and one more surprise question. Like, you explained though that's what kind of piqued your interest, but were there comics that kind of inspired you, or was this just something you just wanted to do as a comic book story?
You know, I thought about writing Air as a novel at first, but I got about 1 chapter in and I said, you know what, this is too visually complicated and cool, this has to be a comic book. So I just stopped right there and I started writing it as a script. So that's sort of how it came to be.
Right on. Well, thanks again for being on the show.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Sophie 5, and this week I'm reviewing We 3 by Grant Morrison and Frank Whitley. It's this comic book about animals, like domestic pets that get kidnapped in the middle of the night and then turned into, you know, these terrorist machines that kill things. It was recommended to me by my friend, and he recommended it for the art, which I agree is amazing. It's very beautiful. There are many scenes in which there are absolutely no dialogue, and yet it carries, and you can feel like the fast-pacedness, and you can feel the suspense. It seems like Grant Morrison was sitting on his couch and was watching Homeward Bound and just thought it would be really interesting to put these animals in robot suits, because that's basically all it is. It's this very typical story of a dog trying to find its way home. If it wasn't for the art, if it wasn't for Frank Whitley, I don't even think I would recommend it at all to anybody. Out of 5, I would give this comic book a 3.
All right, for this week's special sauce, I have Unknown Soldier by Joshua Dysart. This book won the Eisner, and it deserved it. This book is awesome. That's all there is to it. Now here's the thing, when I saw it on the shelf, I thought it was gonna be like The Punisher, some American soldier having some trials and tribulations, trying to figure things out. How wrong was I? It's about the events that are happening in Uganda. If you guys are watching CNN or anything like that, you guys know that there's all kinds of atrocities happening. Two warring factions, kids are getting mutilated. This book brings it to the forefront, especially for comic book geeks. Most of us hang out and watch Superman, Spider-Man do their thing. This book is actually bringing a political event and bringing it to your face. Now, here's the thing. This book is super violent. It's not for the faint of heart. I mean, it's nasty. But the events that are happening there are pretty nasty. But you know what? It exposes me to a different culture, something that I didn't know about. So out of 5, I'm gonna have to give it a 5. You really should check this book out.
Don't read no sissy comics! Join the Brown Lantern Corps! Don't read no sissy comic! Join the Brown Lantern Corps! Don't read no sissy comic. Join the Brown Lantern Corps. Look at this! This one's for the kids!